Two ends up. There were 12 of these huge matzahs in the base of Mikdash all the time, from week to week. They baked them on Friday, special, and they pushed them in. As one went in, one went out. So they were always on a golden table, very precious golden table. There were always 12 of them, two rows of six, 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 six on this golden table. And the Kohanim would always, and then the Kohanim who were leaving, that they had their, this was the end of their week shift, 52 weeks in the Torah in the year. The Jewish people were divided into 26 groups. Each group had Kohanim in it. So a Kohen got to serve 2 weeks a year. 2 weeks a year, he was in the Beis HaMikdash. Was working in the Beis HaMikdash. So the group that was leaving at the end of their week, they would get to eat this special food that had been in the Beis HaMikdash for a whole. If you like matzahs on Pesach, this was special. It was not just, it was holy. It had been in the Beis HaMikdash for a whole week. In the holy chamber. There were different rooms and chambers in the Beis HaMikdash. It was in the holy chamber. Beyond the holy chamber was the Holy of Holies. That's where the Ten Commandments were. So we are invoking Hashem to help us from his holy chamber. He should give you your heart's requests, and he should fulfill all your good resolutions. What's a good resolution? To say a bracha after we eat, before we stand up, in a siddur, to look up into the sky. It's going to rain tomorrow. It says it's going to rain tomorrow, the whole day. Bring your umbrella. Let us rejoice in your salvation, Hashem. Ubashem Elohim and Nidgel, we're going to raise the banner for the name of our God on high. Yimale Hashem, Yimale Adonai, Kol Mishalesecha, Hashem. We implore you to fulfill our requests. What do we request? We request Rahmanas, mercy for our fellow Jews, wherever they are. My fellow Jew in my home should have a refuah shalema. Ata Yadaiti. Now I know, says King David, Ki Hashia Adonai Mashiach, Hashem saves his anointed one. Yaneu Mishmei Kedem, Mishmei Koche. He answers him, he will answer him, should answer him from his holy chamber. Bigvures, with might, Yesha, salvation, Yemine, from his right hand. These come with their chariots and their tanks, the Bradley tanks, and their cavalry, Basusim, their cavalry, Asus. A very sweet Jewish writer wrote a story about a man who had a horse called Sus. Sus means horse in Hebrew. Called this horse Sus. The Sheva singer. Very sweet writer. A bit fanciful. Don't take everything he says literally as true. He makes up a lot of things. We come with the name of God on our lips. Hey, they fell and did not get up. We got up, we arose, and we are standing still all thousands of years. We're holding on. We hold on to our belief. These parshas we're reading in the Torah are about belief in God, trusting God, and the miracles that happen to people. Even Eliezer, who was a non-Jew, came to find a wife for Yitzchak. He wanted his daughter to marry Yitzchak. Abraham said, "No way. We're different people. You're my beloved servant. You know as much Torah. You know more Torah than anybody else in the world except me. But you can't marry my son. Your daughter cannot marry my son. He's a Canaanite, and my son is an Ivri. They don't go together." like oil and water. They don't mix. So he travels 17 days. He takes 10 camels laden with good things. How's he going to find a girl? Come on. Anyway, you're looking for a shidduch. How are you going to find the right person? How? How's it going to happen? Do a lot of good deeds, learn a lot of Torah, write a letter to the Rabbi, give a lot of charity. Hashem will bless you. And it'll happen. Look, it's been happening for thousands of years. We're still here. Happened to me. Happens to my children. They don't believe it, but then it happens. So you got to believe it. So Eliezer shows up. How's he going to find a girl in a strange place? He doesn't know anybody. He's got to get somebody who's a good person from a good family, from the right kind of family, not a Kanani family. I'm a Kanani. I'm a good person. No, you can't. Abraham says, no, not you. Has to be someone from a good family. So he comes and he waits by the well, because Torah is compared to water, so he goes to a well. And it's evening, and the women are bringing the sheep, are coming to draw water. They didn't have taps. You have to go to the well and draw water. And the well there'd be water and there'd be steps going down go down the steps and draw the water and bring it back up in a jug. The word for a jug is a cud. Like a cow chews its cud. The word in Hebrew for a jar is cud. So she comes with her cud to draw water. And he says a prayer before she comes. He says, you know what, Hashem? I want the girl. Avram always likes to be hospitable. I want the girl, I'm going to see that she's hospitable. I'm standing by the well. I'll ask, if I see somebody I think is appropriate, I'll ask her if she can give me some water. We'll see what happens. And he doesn't finish speaking. He doesn't finish saying this prayer, which the sages say was inappropriate, because who knows who could have come. And there comes Rivka. Shows up, all of 3 years old. And he says, ooh, she looks very special. Doesn't know who she is, but she looks special. And he sees her going to the water, and the water rises up like the tide. The water rises up to greet her. He said, that's it. Hashem answered my prayer. I didn't even finish saying it. He already answered my prayer. And that's a great lesson, because the answer is already there waiting for you. Just have to open your eyes and you'll see it. And he runs over to her and he said, could you give me a sip of water? She said, sure, I'd be happy to give you water. And she goes and she fills up her cud. And he takes from the cud and she says, and not only that, I came to draw water for the sheep, and there's a trough here, a drinking trough, stone. He says, I'll fill it up for your camel. Your camels need to drink too. And she fills up the trough with enough water for 10 camels. You know how much a camel drinks? I'd go a mile for a camel, yeah. The camels drink a lot of water. She fills up the trough over and 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 over for 10 camels. He says, that's it. He says, come over here, young lady. I have something for you. This is considered very improper what he did. Very improper. He said, who are you? She said, my name is Rivka. He said, who's your father? She said, Basul. Who's Basul? Basul is the son of Nahor. Nahor is Abraham's brother. She's his niece. He says, I've got something for you. And he gives her a beautiful ring. that weighs 10 half shekels of gold, a hint of the 10 Commandments, and 2 bracelets of gold, a hint of the 2 tablets that the Torah is given on. And the Kod is Chaf 20, Dalet is equal to Chan Esther, Dalet is equal to
4.
4. 20 and 4 is
24.
good. Now, you're not going to know the answer to this, but I gave you a hint. How many books of the Torah are there? Not just 5 books of the Pentateuch. Yes, that's right. You got it right. So here she comes with her Kod, which is a symbol of the 24 books of the Torah. He gives her a ring, which is a symbol of the 10 Commandments, and 2 rings, which is a symbol of the 2 tablets of the law. And he says, will you marry me? No, not me, my servant, my master's son. And he gives her the rings before her parents even consented. Torah said that was not right. So when he reports the whole incident to her parents, he changes. He doesn't say that he did it. He just couldn't hold himself in. Okay, so this is extraordinary. This is what it says, Hashem should fulfill all your requests. We see from this week's Torah portion and last week's also, that as soon as you open your mouth and request something from Hashem, the Ad, we say in Tehillim, in davening every day, Ad Meheira Yaretz Devarei, Hashem's word goes very fast. So our enemies, they bent over and fell, they didn't get up, and we are standing stalwart in our place. Hashem, deliver us. The king should answer us on the day that we call. We must do more Tanya. But these stories they're also very important. Okay. Moving on, right along. Page 67. So we find that not only in intellectual levels, in the world of unity with God, the world of unity with God is called Atzilus. Atzilus corresponds to the letter Yud of God's name, Yud K Vav K. Right? K means hey. So in the world of Atzilus, there were 10, Hashem has to create within himself 10 aspects. What was before there were 10 aspects? There was only him. No aspects, just his infinite life. We can't begin to imagine what it is. We have no concept what it is, because we are not him. And even though he has thoughts, but even on that much lower level, his thoughts are not like our thoughts. But we do say that Hashem creates a level that we could call it thought, and he creates a level that we can call it midos, which corresponds, and when Hashem shines his infinite light into these 7 midos, we get 7 days of instantaneous days of creation. So by analyzing these days, we'll get to understand what these midos are. And guess what? They're in us too. Only they're not Hashem. They're similar, sort of. Really, they're not even similar. They're so far distant from Hashem's infinite qualities. But quality number 1 is kindness and love. So Hashem shines his light into kindness and love, and there's light. Let there be light, and there was light. So the first of all the Jewish people, he corresponds to this, and this is Abraham, and he serves Hashem with love. He has a tent, and he's offering people food and drink and rest and water to wash themselves up. And he teaches them that there's a God. How does he teach them that there's a God? Just like a girl comes into the dorm, you teach her to say blessings. And she probably learned when she was a little girl, if she went to some kind of Sunday school, how you make a blessing. But there are even kids, boys, girls, who never even learned how to make a blessing. So they have to learn. They learn from scratch. You have people in their 30s and 40s and 50s learning Aleph Beis like little children. But their little children are very precious to Hashem. Because whatever they say, that's what they know. And now he analyzes it. Page 67 at the bottom, the intellect includes within it Chachma Bina Das. Chachma is inspiration. Bina is development. Bina is the level. Bina, and in today's Tanya, by the way, we learn Tanya every day. And we go through the whole Tanya in the course of a year. We're only studying the first book of the Tanya. So in book 4 of the Tanya, today, there's the Shir, it says that Bina is also called the world to come. Because the world to come, Rambam says, we should devote our lives to serving God so that we should merit the world to come. Chassidus says there's much more than that. But the world to come, it says in today's Tanya, is the level in which we can understand and appreciate the godliness in Torah. Because Torah comes from Chachma. Bina comes from Chachma. Chachma is the highest level of inspiration. Torah comes from Chachma, from the highest level of God's inspiration. That's Torah. That is the Torah. Can we understand it? On the level when we understand that that's for the world to come. In the world to come, the neshama leaves the body, and in the world to come, it appreciates the godliness in all the Torah that it learned, which is God's wisdom. So you have wisdom and understanding, and das is connection. We're going to find out. We're going to see that later. These are midas. And in our character, we have the same things, the same aspects in our character. We have our intellect, our inspiration, our understanding, and our connection of these thoughts to our life, which is sometimes called application, the app, the emotional app in our character. Do you have that app? I don't understand apps. They say, did you get the app? I'm so old. I'm still in the Middle Ages. They moved very quickly out of the Middle Ages into the technical age. And we have this also in our character, the midas, which correspond. Like I said, Abraham is the first of the fathers of the Jewish people, and he corresponds to love of God. And Yitzchak comes after him. What did Abraham serve God? By kindness, hospitality. Yitzchak served God with strength and might. What do you mean strength and might? Because Abraham dug wells. That was an act of kindness. People had water in the desert. Beersheba in the south of Israel is a well. Abraham dug a well. 7 wells. Sheva is 7. 7 wells. The Goyim, the Palestinians, the Plishtim, they're called, that Palestinian means the Canaanite tribe of bad guys. They came and they threw mud and stones down these wells. So nobody could get any water out of them. Was that a nice thing to do? No, that's what they did. And they said, you can't use these wells. Our enemies are going to come and they're going to get water and they're going to go attack us. Yitzchak said, they don't belong to you. My father dug them. And he redug the wells. And they fought over it. And Yitzchak prevailed. And then they did it again and they fought over it. And he prevailed a second time. and they fought over the wells again a third time, and this time they didn't start up, and the wells remained, and they are called Rehovot, which is the name of a city in Israel today, which means no more wars. Rehov is breadth, broadness. These are wells of peace. So we have love of God, and then we have Yitzchak, which is discipline, strength, fighting for God. And then the third level is the level of that harmonizes both of these themes of love and discipline, because you need to have both. Love and discipline go together like a horse and carriage. That's not the real words for the song are. You know what the real words for the song are? Love and marriage go together like a horse and carriage. Da, 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 da. So that's called Tiferes. Tiferes means beauty. A blend of many colors is beautiful. And the English poet said, truth is also beauty. The most beautiful thing in the world is truth. The most beautiful thing in women's fashions is tznius. Ein yofi kamei hatznius. There's nothing more beautiful than modesty. The immodest person is not beautiful at all. It's vulgar. Vulgar. I mean, imagine going to Buckingham Palace to meet the king and queen, the king and queen, and you go in your fanciest clothes. Or somebody goes in their fanciest clothes, and all of a sudden does a striptease act and takes off all their clothes, and they stand there totally naked. Is that going to? How's it? It's going to be shocking. Person obviously wanted to make a shocking statement, and they'll just escort her and they'll put her into an insane asylum. Look at the fashions. Go on Google. Look at the fashions of the 17th, 18th, 19th century. Beautiful, beautiful clothing that women had. They're really, you can see them in paintings of the Impressionists of the 19th century. Maybe it's the 18th century, the 1800s. Impressionists. I mean, they're not modest paintings. You know, the famous painting that I once saw in the museum in Paris when I was a teenager, a young man. I was studying there. So it's a famous painting, beautiful painting of a person at a bar, and there's a barmaid, dressed very modestly, very beautifully. It's a beautiful painting, beautiful woman. But you know, so it's not such a modest thing. But you see the clothes that they wore were very modest clothes. Do you know that women who wanted to go swimming, you could walk down a dock, and then you'd have steps going into the water. You'd have a bathing costume on, not a swimming suit, a bathing costume. It was a full, modest costume, and there were curtains. You went to a little costume, a little room in the water to bathe. That's how they did it. There was no such thing. All right. So this is called Tiferes. He says here in the bottom line, page 67, which is the glorification of God. Truth, that stands for truth, and that stands for Yaakov. Yaakov is the epitome of learning Torah. Torah is truth, beauty is truth. So we have love and discipline and truth, which in Hebrew is Ava and Gevura and Tiferes. Tiferes is beauty. Chaim. Class is over. I'm late for my minion. I had to leave 5 minutes ago. Chana Esther is going to remind me to say a bracha achrona.
Yes.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Born in Pashas Rabbos Chesvan and Al Kalmash Manasseh. Okay, we covered 2 more lines. Yeah, somebody asked you what's the learning like in the Mechon Liado? Says, oh, it's terrific. We learn 1 or 2 lines a day.